Hello, World Wide Web. Radrick here. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bridging the Gap podcast. Today I've got another special guest on. We met through the entrepreneur community that I'm building. He had stepped it up this month to take the top spot on the leaderboard, and he won the spotlight as the Community Member of the Month. He's an AI enthusiast, an entrepreneur, and a developer of the product that is aimed at helping its community of users to help sort out their resumes, keep their cover letters in check, and help them land that dream job or get that raise. Really happy to have him as a guest on the podcast. I'm looking forward to having many more. This podcast is about digital nomadism, finding your ikigai, process through Kaizen, learning how to chase your dreams and become the best version of yourself that you can. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, sound check 1, 2. Sounds good to me. So it's a little bit of a surf town, maybe 10,000 people max. On the weekend, get about probably another couple thousand that come in, either locals or travelers, just come for a few days. And yeah, it does get a little bit rainy, but it's like Vancouver, like probably any Pacific Pacific city that has a little bit of a mountain close by. It is also kind of the rainy season. I would take it. It's the off season, and so I don't mind it. It's really peaceful when the rain starts pitter pattering on the roof. But
How
yeah,
long have you
man.
been there now?
It's been 2 months since end of July. I
Oh,
came after Collision Conf. Did you do Collision?
okay. Yeah, I was there. We could have met.
Did we meet there?
Uh, no,
Oh, we
we
could have
would
met. You
have
said,
if I knew
yeah,
you at that time.
yeah. Well, if you saw any giants, you might have seen me. I'm pretty easy to spot.
Oh yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for being such a awesome contributor and participant in the community. You really got the assignment, so to speak, in the shameless promotion channel. The point of that channel is to help each other like get more engagement and activity inside of their
Mm,
socials so that when you do post and you want to make an announcement about your product or just to get a little bit more clout,
yeah.
it really helps the algorithm pick up steam. The other day
Yeah.
was it yesterday? I posted something with Justin Welsh, and
Yeah.
he actually commented, and I'm sure that it got onto his radar because of all the work that we've been doing over the
Yeah.
last month. And I think that
Cool.
anybody who's building a product, the least you can do if you want to see your product be successful is post one post every day. Because
Yeah.
it does a few things. It shows that your product is something that's at top of mind for you. It shows anybody
Yeah.
who's watching your social channels that there's an active uh, expression through that th- of that product, and that you're there at least, and it
Mm,
shows people that the product is getting attention, which I think goes a long way. So I haven't
yeah.
actually signed in to your product. We followed on Twitter a little while ago, and I clicked around on the socials and stuff. But yeah, it would be great to just kind of
Yeah.
do a review of when did you start, what was the inspiration for it,
Yeah.
is it just you? Do you have a team? What's the traction
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before I started Skip Round, I'll tell you why I started Skip Round,
Sure.
and so it was like the journey was around. I've been in marketing and engineering. I've consulted for Salesforce, and so I've had like worn like very different hats in the past. And the last company that I was working for was in agriculture, and just the way the climate is going these days, like we saw like consistent reduction of headcount in the last couple of years. And so I was leading the engineering team there. So towards the end, when the team was like getting extremely thin, I decided to kind of leave them and maybe like continue the conversation once the funding was back up. And so I was thinking about what to do, but in the meantime, it wasn't just Devron. It was like a lot of other companies that are laying people off, or like people are finding themselves out of a job. So I found
Mm-hmm.
um, myself helping some of the team members. I wasn't in a rush to finding a job, but a lot of people don't have that luxury, and so I would tell them to use AI
Mm-hmm.
to benefit from the the vast knowledge base that the AI is trained on, and to just whether it's like writing a resume, cover letter, preparing for interviews. But I constantly saw like people would like a light bulb will go off, they would try it, and then nothing. And so what I wanted to do was just maybe make it easier for people to do that on an ongoing basis. So that's what kind of started Skip Round. um, but the back of mind, my goal has always been, even before Skip Round, to help people just figure out what is it that they really want in life, and set that as a goal. And then finding a job is like one of the stepping stones towards that goal. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where kind of Skip Round actually starts as a product. Like when you sign up, the very first thing I do is ask you to upload your resume, and then a few questions that really get into the gist of what would be an ideal role for you.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly like it starts with what kind of job title, but then what tasks that you like, what tasks that you don't like, what kind of company would you like to work for, whether it's a big company, small companies, small team, big team. um, if there is like a particular salary expectation that you have, what kind of benefits would you prefer over others. And so it goes through a series of these questions, and then it gives you like a job description out of that, that when you read that you should feel very excited, like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the purpose, to get you excited about that role that you are looking for next. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of sets up your mind towards the moment you
What you're
find
looking
that,
for.
double down. Yeah, it's like
Mm-hmm.
most times the people that I met, they don't put in a lot of effort in job search, um, because they can't see what their future life would look like once they land this job versus the other. So what we do is like we put our effort equally into all jobs that we apply, versus, oh, this is a job that I actually would never want to do. But you put in the same effort, you apply to it, maybe you write a cover letter, maybe you tweak a little bit your resume, and then the same effort you're applying to the job that you would just
Mm-hmm.
like want to do like for the rest of your life. And so something like this focuses your attention towards the ones that you really want. And then I have AI features where you can create your resume with AI. I'm really against auto apply when it comes to the usage of AI in the industry when it comes to like job search. So there's no feature which will auto apply for you, but it'll do like the work that I feel AI should do. So I have a clear delineation between what people should be doing, what they should leverage AI for. And so the product like just stops just shy of applying for you, or just shy of fully writing a cover letter. So it'll write enough, it'll create your resume enough where you do the final pass, and then you download it, and then you can, if you want, you can edit within the product. You can do interview questions. So that's one use case where you want to leverage AI more than what you already do with humans, because
Mm-hmm.
humans don't have time, humans don't have the breadth, like not everyone understands your job. So telling AI, here's a job description, that's my role, ask me 10 questions, and then
Mm-hmm.
you answer the question, and then the AI will give you a grading, and then based on that grading you can do another
Mm-hmm.
attempt. So there are features like that which just
Okay.
help you practice. And then the like overarching like career path type of features that exist are um, what I like to call like the nail framework, which is networking, applying to jobs, introspection, and learning or upskilling. And so if you do these four things on an ongoing basis throughout your career, you would be much better positioned for your next job, for your promotion, for whatever have you that your career goals are. And so we let you track like a Fitbit for your career. You track these four things on a weekly basis. You get an email.
Hmm.
We have a notes feature that helps you kind of introspect on how things are going on a week to week. Like it gives you a new prompt every week to think about. And this is not the AI prompt. This is the prompt for a human being to think.
Mm-hmm.
So a question might be like, how was your relationship with boss for the last few weeks? And so you reflect on that, write it down. And the purpose there is twofold. One, just journaling is good. So this is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
work journaling.
Interesting.
But secondly, also like now you're collecting this body of work that you've written, which you can leverage in the future by asking AI, hey, go through all my notes, and I have this appraisal coming up. Give me a few pointers that I talk to my boss about where I can make a good case for a promotion or for a raise. But yeah, like it starts with you putting in the work every week and
Mm-hmm.
writing, and this tool kind of helps you do that.
Hmm. Okay. So you said it doesn't help you write the cover letter or the resume?
It does. It writes it for you, but
Mm-hmm.
I make sure that you review it. So there is
Mm-hmm.
no auto
Okay.
apply like
Okay.
a few other tools that I've seen
So
out there.
when
Like
you're
it'll
applying,
rewrite the resume for you, but you have to kind of review it and then you can use it.
so you have kind of like a basic resume that you've built or that it's built?
So it starts with your original resume, which
Mm-hmm.
you can either get from LinkedIn or maybe you have a resume. So that's what you
Mm-hmm.
upload into the product,
Mm-hmm.
and that becomes like I call the base resume. So
Okay.
going forward in the future, you just go to your base resume, you add any new things that you're working on or any
Mm-hmm.
new jobs that you've picked up since then. But then every time you apply what I call an application within the product, for each application, you can create a new version of your
Mm-hmm.
resume. And the only thing we're doing there is essentially making sure that the keywords that were mentioned in the job description are
Yeah.
reflected on your resume, just
So when
to
you,
make sure like the AI or the ATS can at least bring your resume up
mm-hmm.
to the top of the list.
Right, because that's what I was thinking is like each time you apply for the job, there's either a person or some bot that's looking for certain keywords, and they're probably in the job description. So when you go to apply for a job, I as the user, I have to go to skip around and I drop the job description into the application, and then
Yeah, so
it
we have a Chrome extension that you can use
okay,
to get that job automatically, or you can just copy like the
hmm,
LinkedIn page and post it
cool,
in Skip Round, and then it just extracts. Another thing I did there was like every product or tool where you find jobs have a different formatting for the job. So when you
hmm,
bring it to Skip Round, it gives you like one standardized format where compensation, benefits are like in one place, your requirements for education or work experiences in one place, your like day to day might be another place, like
hmm,
any DI information might be. So it's like I kind of put it in a structured way so that your eye always goes there if that's important for
hmm,
you. And then
hmm,
you follow that path of like write the resume, cover letter. I'm building certain features around like outreach messages that you can generate with
hmm,
AI as well, just so that like it leaves the actual act. Like there are all these good practices that you should do, but we don't do it because it's too much effort. So
hmm,
just reducing the effort enough that the
Mm-hmm.
human being feels like, okay, it's not that much, like I just have to click a button, maybe take
Mm-hmm.
that note, rewrite a little bit, and then use it, versus staring at that blank page and going like, what do I even say to this
Mm-hmm.
person that
Yeah.
I
So I
want
mean,
to notice me?
I'm guilty of having to like rewrite my resume all the time because I have like the full ladder of experience. But if I'm applying to a
Mhm.
job that's like intermediate, oftentimes it's like it can be a full stack or it can be back end or it can be front end. And like I have to
Mhm.
have different kinds of resumes for each one of those jobs because if I go and apply for a job that's just like pigeonholed into one of those things and I say I'm a
Mhm.
CTO, they're just going to be like, oh, this guy's overqualified, you know? And so I have to
Mhm.
actually really go into the whole thing and renovate the whole thing so that it's very focused on just the
Mhm.
front end stuff and not all the leadership stuff or the
Right. Right.
entrepreneur stuff or, you know, what have you.
Yeah. 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 And like more and more, I'm seeing, like, just thinking about, again, going back to the why I started the product, and generally like what I believe in is, there will, like, we come from an age where we basically had uh, a narrow definition of what our work was, and
Mm-hmm.
more and more, as we're seeing the younger generation, which wants to do like varied types of work. And so already there was this appetite for, I don't want to be pigeonholed as like just a marketer, I also want to do sales, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be just a salesperson, I also want to, maybe like, I can code a little bit. And so the the younger folks are more like, they want more experiences. And now you add AI to that, where the learning curve for going from A to B is very small, given that you have a threshold of IQ, or like whatever
Mm-hmm.
intelligence measurement you want to use. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think the future is where people would want to do like 20 different things, and they will be like good enough that they can interact with an AI to get to the acceptable level for any kind of job. And
Mm-hmm.
so, given that that's the future, I think it'll become a bigger and bigger problem for companies to figure out, who to pick, given that people will have all these varied experiences. And so, I think, um, leveraging AI to, it's kind of like, product selection. Like, Amazon doesn't say, I have this one landing page, everyone come here, and it's your job to figure out which of these products you want to buy. Like, amazon
Mm-hmm.
amazon does the work for you by putting up the products that you're most likely to buy. And same thing, I think people will need to do in the future for employers, where I should be able to take my resume, and then, instead of you having to go through my entire work history and figure out what are the skills or competency that I have that apply to this job,
Mm-hmm.
I should do the Amazon like work on my resume. So right at the top, you see everything that you're looking for. And then you
Mm-hmm.
want, like, then that's just enough. And that's what the purpose of resume is. That just needs to be enough that the person goes, oh, this is worth someone I should spend like 20 minutes with. And so you want that interview call, and then the rest is on the interview, where you'll do the closing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there is a future where it will be imperative, where your resume needs to be tailored to the job, and
Mm-hmm.
this kind of like approach won't work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because at the interview, it's really not about your resume anymore. It's more like, do I like this person and can I see
Right.
myself working with them? Are they
Mhm.
able to be? Are they coachable? I think is a common thing that I hear as a KPI. And
Right.
yeah, very cool, man. So what kind of where are you at the moment with the build? Is it taking on users now? Do you have
Yeah.
revenues?
So,
What's the milestone you're at?
yeah. So right from the get go, I had users, because it's, like, I believe that there is no perfect product out there. And so the
Mm-hmm.
very first screen that I built, I had a couple of people trying it out. And so, but I've never been I need that tremendous growth, and I need to like advertise and publicize.
Mm-hmm.
So just been like chipping away, like you said, every founder should post on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. So I started posting quite early. I started getting a few users from the get-go. I have a few paying users now, but most users are free, so about 100 or so.
Okay.
And what that allows me to do is like, um, whenever I ship a feature, I see the usage, and
Mm-hmm.
I see like if people are kind of gravitating towards this part of the app or not.
Mm-hmm.
Currently it's in, I want to say like 70% are job seekers, 30% of people who are just, who have a job but they're more career focused, and they want a tool to keep track of
Mm-hmm.
like the four things we talked about. And so um yeah, like, and it makes sense because those 70% of people are who have an urgent need, who
Mm-hmm.
want to find a job right away. But my hope is that as they use the product, they get used to that tracking weekly activity, and that continues throughout your career in the future.
Mm-hmm. Is there a
So
way
that's where
for
that
em-
is.
Is there a way for employers to come and see your profile on Skip Around? Like if you have
Yeah.
somebody
So when you
who's
create,
very, go ahead, go
yeah. So there is no search, but as someone who's preparing for an application,
ahead.
um, apart from the resume that you can download, you also get a public link for that particular application with that version of your resume. And
Mm-hmm.
so many companies allow you to put like a website link, so someone can use that. Um, it's not there yet, but eventually, what I would like to see is, um, the person who sent that link or applied to that job should be able to see some metrics around whether the resume was viewed or not, what part of the resume the whether it was a recruiter or the hiring manager, like where did they focus more on. So just like
Mm-hmm.
kind of analytics that we're used to on marketing side, um, like giving some of that insights to job
Mm-hmm.
seekers. So that would be something that I'll probably build out in the future. But
Mm-hmm.
the feature exists where you can share that public link with your hiring manager
Mm-hmm.
or recruiter.
Cool. Yeah, the wheels are spinning in my mind now. I'm wondering if there's like is there an ATS kind of side to it maybe? Like if you're a job not seeker but like you're an employer, could you come in and have like a dashboard of potential people who are in the system who might be well suited for the job?
Right. Yeah. So there is like there is a world where that happens. Today, I'm not in any
You're
way
not there.
focused on it,
Yeah.
but there
Mm-hmm.
is an angle where I'm interested to find out from employers and ask them if that's something they would be interested
Mm-hmm.
in. Which
A
we
dashboard.
actually didn't touch on that yet. So as a growth seeker, another issue that I saw as I was talking to a bunch of people was that there was this sentiment around AI is coming, it will have an impact on my job,
Mm-hmm.
but more and more so, I have no idea what the impact is going to be. I have no idea what to do today. So there were two camps of people: one that are super scared
Mm-hmm.
and they're just like paralyzed, they don't know what to do; the others who are like, yeah, I know, but I can't do anything, so they're like not doing anything anyway. and and so what I wanted to do was figure out a way where it tells you a little, like gives you some direction towards where you can go as someone who is career focused and who wants to like have an upper hand when AI is here fully.
Mm-hmm.
So I built this thing called the AI Ready Report, and what that does is, again, it starts with your resume. You upload your resume, and it goes through your resume and figures out what are your skills, what are the tasks that you do in your job today, and then it categorizes those based on what might be impacted by AI and the ones that will not be impacted by AI, or at least less impact. And then it gives you like a chart of like 2 years, what does that look like? 5 years, what does that look like? 10 years, what does that look like? And what that does, just that part of the report, it immediately gives you a sense of like, if you were too focused on upskilling on certain area, and you know, at least looking at this chart, that that
Mm-hmm.
skill will be either obsolete or heavily automated in the future, then maybe I need to like shift my focus towards a
Yeah.
different skill.
Mm.
And like, and oftentimes like it might sound like, when do I think about this? But like, once you've seen that chart, you can really apply it from day one. Because let's say your boss says like, hey, can you help me with this task? And you go, yeah, I have two options. One, this is a task that I don't know, but I'm eager to learn, so I'll learn it. Or you go, well, this is a task that I don't know, but I know this will be automated in the future, so let me go find an AI tool that can help me right away.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then you help your company and yourself by upskilling in that AI direction in that task.
Mm.
The other option is like, um, you say, well, if I have an option, I'd rather not work on this task. I'd rather work on a different task that I
Yeah.
know will remain human centric in the future.
Mm.
And so that's the benefit of that part of the report. And then there's a second part of the report where it says, if you wanted to continue in your current job, here are a few here first of all, here are the skills that are AI proof but will be augmented with AI. And it gives you some ideas. Again, like, even if you don't have tasks coming in today, you can be like, oh, communication is something that will be impacted by AI. Let me figure out what tools exist today, whether it's like AI email writers, or AI blog writers, or whatever have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the side, it tells you there are certain new skills that will emerge in your current job that you might want to start looking into. And so that
Mm-hmm.
might entail like, emotional intelligence, like go find a coach for
Mm-hmm.
that, or take a course on digital
Mm-hmm.
transformation. Like, I've seen like a few of those where some of these themes kind of repeat. And
Mm-hmm.
then the final part of the ARD report gives you three future friendly jobs, if you will, that will be where you'll be able to leverage AI more and more,
Mm-hmm.
or the jobs that will remain primarily human centric. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's another way of you thinking about your future and going, well, I'm a HR manager right now, but my future is in HR technologies.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's a skill set I should start building. And so it gives you your transferable skills and the new skills that you should acquire, if you want
Mm-hmm.
to make that your goal. And then again, in skip round, you just click a button that becomes your goal. And then your 4 activities of networking, applying, introspection, and learning should be geared towards that goal that you've set for yourself
Mm-hmm.
for the future.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that report is a good one that I run often
Nice.
for people who are working with me, and it's really insightful.
Where do those insights come from? Do they just come from AI? Like, or do you just ask it, what jobs are most likely to be taken over by AI? Seems like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like there's nobody
I think it's
like there's nobody who's an expert in the future, right? So I
exactly,
mean,
yeah.
it's
So it's
totally a
not
shot in
more.
the
It's
dark.
not. It's less of a like a crystal ball and more of enough guidance that helps you at least take some action.
Mm-hmm.
So the and I'm testing out with different AIs as like
Mm-hmm.
newer models come out. But I've seen so far, um, when you need like proof or research, then I leverage Perplexity. If you're looking at like any kind of like analysis, you need to run code. So that's not something I do today. Um, then there is like for writing copy that's more like human like. It's like Claude is what I use in the product. So it's like it's a combination of like various AIs, wherever
Mm-hmm.
one is better than the other. And then the other thing is
Okay.
about cost as well. So there are tasks which, so as an example, like the resume importing and parsing, I don't need the smartest model. I just need something that's good enough at parsing data from a
Okay.
PDF. And so for that, I use right now like Photo Mini, but in the past
Mm-hmm.
it was like I was using 3.5. So it's not like one AI for any of those tasks, but like a
Mm-hmm.
combination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same, I guess, approach any human should follow in their particular job as well. Like one interesting thing that someone mentioned recently on a pod, or actually a LinkedIn live I was in, is they said, well, I've stopped buying products for annual membership, because like you buy one product and then another one comes out and it has like better AI for something else. So like just buy monthly subscriptions if you are
Interesting.
looking at AI today.
If you're bouncing
That,
around,
that was
yeah.
interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the product. Like
Right.
again, if it's like whatever they're using is good enough, then
Yeah. Yeah.
that's sufficient. Cool, man. Very interesting. It's very interesting. What have you learned any like big lessons along the way? What's
Um. Yeah. I would say, like, given that I started with having users into the product, I think that's something, even though I knew it's valuable, like you never know unless you actually go through that journey. I've always
mm-hmm,
worked for a company that already had a product, and so
mm-hmm,
you had the luxury of like, oh, there's a user base already. But
mm-hmm,
starting from scratch and getting your first couple of users and then a couple more
mm-hmm,
is always like a big learning. Every
mm-hmm.
customer, every user teaches you something new.
Sure.
I'm also working with a bunch of like senior leaders and founders who kind of leverage that AI ready report, and then we do this like weekly coaching
Mm-hmm,
sessions together. And so there I learn a lot, because um, like my use cases are very different from someone who's like a director of HR and
mm-hmm.
someone who's a product
Sure.
manager.
They
And
have a different
so
perspective
like those
to
sessions
add.
are like give and take.
Mm-hmm,
And so definitely lots to learn there in the future as well. On the product building, I would say, like, um, there are a lot of like uh, what do you like calling them, like, myths out there that do this or that. And I like my approach had always been like, try it for a week, and if it doesn't work, pivot to something else. And
mm-hmm.
so that's something I would recommend anyone, that
It's
um,
building
like,
product.
don't over invest on any one type of strategy, because
Mm-hmm.
when you hear some of these, like an example would be like, a company will come to you and be like, forget about everything, cold emailing is the way to go. And so if you have limited budget, which I'm one of those people, um, figure out the cheapest way you can try cold emailing,
mm-hmm,
and the cheapest way you can try cold calling, the cheapest way you can
mm-hmm,
try like organic LinkedIn or ads on LinkedIn. So because there are like so many channels how you can grow your product,
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, like the, every company would have some kind of I guess bias towards what worked for them, and it's really hard to say what worked for someone else will definitely work for
Yeah.
you or your product.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just experiment a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm
Depends
like I'm speaking as if like I found the right answer, so I'm
the
still
formula.
experimenting. Yeah.
Yeah. Which one do you find is working best for you? Probably LinkedIn, I would suspect.
Yeah, yeah. And again, like, it's because of the work, the type of product it is, right?
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
there are people who are influencers on Instagram, and in a similar product space, they have like millions of followers on Instagram, and they're doing really well through Instagram as well. But I'm not the kind of,
Yeah.
that's not my
It's a
personality. And
different
so
format.
yeah, so it's really difficult to say what would work for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, I'm not fully following what you started saying initially, was post every day. I'm posting like maybe once a week, so I
Mm-hmm.
need to kind of boost
Or
that
ramp
up a
it
little
up.
bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to lean into those
And
those AI tools and at least help you get inspiration because I think it gets
exactly.
hard when you have to just show up at the keyboard and start. Even though
Right.
I've started to do it, I just get into like a flow state and just let my fingers start
Yeah.
or like whatever is in that moment seeming important to me, I just start writing about that. but I can see how that would
Mm,
be difficult for some people to walk up to the keyboard and start with. But you can have like 30, you can ask ChatGPT, give me 30, here's the thing, and give me 30 topics that I might write about. And, you can just
yeah,
literally pick one every day and dive into it,
yeah,
get it to build like 80% of it, and then you just do the last 20% to make it personalized or branded or
yeah,
make sure that the messaging is correct or the tone and voice is all aligned with your branding and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I like another thing about writing is that um, if you make it like a big chore, it doesn't happen. And so if you make it like, kind of like sending a message to someone or sending like an email, and that's something we all do like day in and day out, like multiple times a day. So if you
Hmm.
write it in a tone that's like I'm
Hmm.
talking to a friend and
Yeah,
just giving him
totally.
some advice or her
Hmm.
some advice, and so like if you have that mindset, it also becomes easier. So that like
Hmm.
I had not written a single post before I started skip round. So
Yeah,
this was a big change, but I'm glad I made it, and I want to continue
yeah.
like increasing
You're
it.
growing through it. When did you start it?
Yeah.
How long has the journey
So
been
I started skip round in January
of this
of this
year?
year, and I think on
Hey,
LinkedIn I started in March.
okay. Cool, man. What's the size of the community? You said like 100 or so people?
Yeah, on the product 100 and so. Like my personal follower count was like I think 700 when
Hmm.
I started in March, and now it's 1300 something.
Nice.
So and yeah, it's like you said, it's just about showing up
Showing up every
at
day.
a set
Yep.
frequency and keep doing what you do.
It adds up.
I tried to do a few like I mean I continue to do a few um, LinkedIn Live or LinkedIn audio sessions. That is really helpful. So
Hmm.
and that too, like another advice if I can give people is just ask people who do these sessions, like who host them, be like, I'm open to speaking on your event.
Hmm.
Here's something that I can offer to your community.
Hmm.
And most people who host these things are looking for interesting people to talk to, and
Hmm.
so just reach out like often. If you don't
Yeah,
reach out, obviously you won't get
totally.
asked.
Yeah.
So
You miss
yeah,
all the
like
shots you
and
don't
that
take.
yeah, exactly, that brings like whatever, two or three followers.
Exactly.
Another thing I've done is I attend a lot of events that others have, and you learn a lot, but also they're like sometimes 100 people, sometimes 5 people.
Hmm.
Generally smaller works better for someone like me who's fairly unknown. So
Hmm.
those 5 people at least are looking at you, and then you can connect with them.
Hmm.
You can find an opportunity to go on stage and ask a question or share a story.
Hmm.
So being active on LinkedIn definitely has helped.
Hmm. What's what's the difference in the like free version versus the paid version of your product?
So with skip Round, so the already report is paid. There is
Mm.
no free version, although I want to build like a mini report that can be tried out for free. So that's a one-time payment, or if you get the monthly subscription, you just get it as part of the subscription. Um, when it comes to the other features, the tracking is free, the Fitbit for your career. But any feature that uses AI is part of the
Paid.
pro version.
Yeah.
And so you get
Makes
like
sense.
5 job applications, which translates to 5 resumes, 5 cover letters, 50 interview questions for free every month.
Hmm.
And like if you want to go beyond 5 applications, you have to pay.
Hmm.
As I'm building more features around AI, like the note taking one, where like the notes probably will be free as you write them, but then if you want to have those notes as part of like the, call it like your hive mind, for all your 6 months of introspection that you've
Hmm.
done, that would probably be paid.
Yeah.
um, Yeah, so generally, like anything that costs me, I'm trying to keep it behind a paywall.
Sure. Makes
Versus
sense.
things that are like, I'm paying for the server anyway, and so having like a few more records doesn't cost me a
Yeah.
lot more. I'm trying to keep that free.
Yeah. Makes sense. Totally. If you want feedback for your raise or whatever, then you got to pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you solo or do you have co-founders?
Just myself for now. Well,
Yeah.
I find the solo founder thing like such a myth because while I'm talking to you, I've learned a lot so far already.
Yeah.
And so I can call myself a solo founder, but it's like everyone that I talk to, I learn from,
Sure.
and that's a
Sure.
huge help. And it's not even like, oh, I knew this. It's just talk to you. Like you learn net new things with every person you talk to. So
Every day.
solo founder,
Totally.
but I'm learning a lot. One thing I'm good at is writing code, and so uh, there I could have taken the credit of solo founder, but again, like AI has made me 3 times more productive than I was
Of course.
before that. So even
Yeah.
there, I can't take the
No.
credit. But yeah,
I
like
mean,
building
yeah,
product
it's
is like really good.
ChatGPT is like my junior developer and my research
Exactly.
developer. And it's like every
Yeah.
time I have a question that I'm asking myself in my head, I literally just put it in ChatGPT. Or if I have an error, I'm like, why is this happening? And I show him the code and
Yeah.
it tells you exactly what the problem is. It's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah, and now I don't know if you've tried the app Cursor.
Cursor?
So yeah, Cursor. I don't know if it's .ai or .com, but one of the two. And they are kind of like GitHub Copilot, but like on steroids. So not only like with GitHub Copilot, it does completions, and you have the chat where you can ask questions. With Cursor AI, they